Stunning comments from President Biden about America. Listen to this.
We have never fully lived up to the founding principles of this nation, to state the obvious, that all people are created equal and have a right to be treated equally throughout their lives. We've bought the view that America is a zero-sum game in many cases. If you succeed, I fail. If you get ahead, I fall behind. If you get the job, I lose mine. Maybe worst of all, if I hold you down, I lift myself up.
Now, the president's remarks came as he signed 4 new executive orders aimed at advancing racial equity yesterday. Joining us to discuss is Paris Dennard, the RNC Senior Advisor for Black Media Affairs. Paris, great to see you again. I'll just ask you to respond to the remarks made by President Biden. What message do you think he's trying to send, and what evidence is he really referring to?
What we see from President Biden is someone who's trying to erase his own bigoted past. When he was vice president, when he was a United States senator, when his now vice president was a United States senator and an attorney general in the state of California, they did absolutely nothing to advance racial equity. They did absolutely nothing to do what they're now claiming that they are going to be able to do in the White House. They have been part of the problem for decades. And now he wants to convince the American people that somehow we have never lived up to our promise of all men being created equal. Excuse me. The only reason why he was vice president was because the American people twice elected a black man to be president of the United States. His running mate, a black woman, is there because the American people voted and had no problem voting for them on the Democrat side for that to happen. We've seen countless examples of this nation, the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act. You can go down the line from things that have been decided in the Supreme Court, like Brown versus the Board of Education, that shows that our nation has done what it needs to do to make a more perfect union. Are we perfect? No. But to say we've never lived up to it is absurd. And he needs to stop trying to demonize this country. He needs to stop trying to make people feel guilty about being American. We should be proud to be Americans, and we should be proud of the positive things that we've done to correct the wrongs in our nation. And he doesn't want that to happen because it's part of a victim mentality that's permeating through the radical left right now.
You mentioned the progress that America has made throughout time. We've seen already that the Biden administration will focus on identity politics and highlighting people's race when it comes to making decisions. And so I'll ask you, Paris, is there some sort of executive action that you would like to see that you believe would actually help minority communities? That's something that hasn't come out from the Biden administration just yet.
Oh, absolutely. It's very simple. The Biden administration needs to talk about being unified and work towards implementing former President Trump's Platinum Plan for Black economic empowerment. He also had a plan to address Hispanic prosperity. President Trump laid the foundation for a second term to really mobilize and usher in the total empowerment of many underserved communities and people who have been left out traditionally. President Trump laid out the roadmap. He had the plan. If President Biden wants to talk about unifying the nation, he wants to reach across the aisle, he won't raise taxes. He won't eliminate jobs. He will support school choice and charter schools. He'll be a champion for historically black colleges like President Trump was, and he'll support opportunity zones and not try to radically change them. And he will implement the former president, President Trump's Platinum Plan for Black economic empowerment. There are things that he can do, but again, he's so focused on politics and trying to erase the positives of what happened in the last 4 years that he's so blinded by his own political ambition that he won't even do that. And that's the sad thing about this so-called quest for unity.
Yeah,
it's not true.
We've spoken before about the Platinum Plan. I know Ice Cube came forward and said that he was open to having conversations with the former Trump administration at the time about it and the benefits it could bring to members of the black community. I'm wondering what happens to that plan and where those discussions go. I'm not sure if it's moving forward at this time. I want to talk to you about Biden's domestic policy council leader, Susan Rice. She also made some comments about race just yesterday. Here's what she had to say.
President Biden will renew the federal government's commitment to making the American dream real for families across the nation by taking ambitious steps to redress inequality in our economy and expand opportunity for communities that have been left behind, including communities of color. His economic plans make historic investments in underserved communities and put equity at the heart of our recovery.
Are you optimistic about these promises that are being made by Susan Rice and members of the Biden administration when it comes to equity among all Americans?
No, I'm not optimistic because I don't believe anything that they say. This is the same administration who passed the mask mandate on federal grounds, and yet they violated that the very day that they implemented it. So nothing coming out of them, of their mouths or anything that I trust, because they don't even have a track record of the over 40 some odd years of being in power of doing so. The interesting thing is this: they think that they can do all of this by executive order. They control the Democrats control the House and the Senate and the White House. Why can't he go across the D.C., across the Hill, and work with the people in the Senate and the congressmen in the House? Work with them, implement something. But these executive actions on race and equity, I have no confidence in their ability to work, because how do you legislate somebody's heart? How do you put how do you measure success on eradicating white supremacy when they've been a part of the problem for decades? These are lofty goals that sound good on a soundbite, but they have no direct impact because they are actually built upon falsehoods and lies and mistruths about where we are as a society. We saw great economic advancement in the Black community with unprecedented low unemployment. We saw home ownership increase under the Trump administration for minorities. So the things that they're talking about that are happening just were not happening because the Trump administration was addressing them. In order to move forward, in order to do things that are going to bring people together, you have to support free enterprise. You've got to support capitalism. You've got to support reducing taxes and taking the big federal government out of the way of the American people, minorities, and allowing them to thrive and to survive and to succeed and to empower. That's not what you see coming out of the Biden administration thus far.
I'm getting the message from you. You got to open up these businesses out there. Paris Dennard joining us live here on the program. Paris, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.